We are now live. I apologize for the brief delay, but we here, we live, we all in here now. So let's make the most of the opportunity we got. Let's make the most of the time we got as everybody comes in. Tell me your name and location in the comments section. Hit the share button if you are watching this on Facebook. Hit that share button, Facebook. Share this to somebody on your feed. Copy and paste the link. Send it to somebody in a text. Wherever you at, you on Instagram, y'all know what to do. Leave your name and location in the comment section. Eyeball 2424, what's going on? King of Phasia, what's going on? We got Dallas in the house. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me the name and location. Nobody's did it yet, but a few people have left a comment on Facebook. Hit that share button, please. Hit that share button. Share this to your timeline. I don't care if you only got one friend on Facebook. Share it to that one friend. As y'all checking in on IG, tell me your name and location in the comment section. My name is Dre all day. We're going to get into the proceedings in very short order. So as y'all coming in, welcome. Gabe checking in from Maine. I got to give you credit for the first comment because you're the first one to say name and location. So as y'all coming in, tell me name and location, name and location, name and location. We're getting started in less than 1 minute. Hope everybody's had a great, what is today? Tuesday, May the, is it the 5th? Is it Cinco de Mayo? Shout out to everybody who's celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Man, we can't even have, ain't no get-togethers right now. People can still get together, but I mean, not at a business. No business is open for get-togethers, but I guess people doing what they got to do. The Life of Trice was good. Says you like masterclass number 1451. Shout out to you for listening to it. Shout out to everybody who's checking on that Work on Your Game masterclass coming out every day. Let's see. Ilias, is that Ilias? Yeah, Ilias checking in from Greece. What's going on with you? As y'all checking in, tell me your names and locations. Someone said it's Taco Tuesday. I ain't had tacos in a minute. Shout out to everybody who's having tacos and Cinco de Mayo at the same time. So it'd be a good day for a taco place. So it'd make a lot of money today, but nobody's open right now. But anyway, we are open. We're open, and that's all we can focus on. Y'all know what I say: to be early is on time is late is forgotten. Today's topic, we're talking about proving your game. If you're watching this on Facebook, you see the topic above the video. If you're watching this on Instagram, you see the topic right down there in the pinned comment. Oklahoma City is checking in. Shout out to Oklahoma City, OKC. So listen, proving your game. This is something that I've been talking about especially with athletes. Those of you who are not athletes, understand that this topic still applies to you as well, because in anything you do in life, you got to prove it, right? If you ever hire a personal trainer or a copywriter or some kind of contractor or anybody who's going to charge you for some kind of service or some kind of work they're doing, and they tell you, well, I charge this much, and they telling you all these things they could do. I could do this, I could do that. And they tell you all these things that they're good at, right? Here's the only two words you got to use to hold their feet to the fire and make sure they're for real. Prove it. Prove all the things that you're talking about. All the things you said you can do, prove it. All the skills that you said you got, prove it. All the stuff that you said you'll be able to deliver on, you got to somehow, some way, you got to prove it to me. Because if you can't prove it, then it's not real. This is how it works in all of life, people. If you can't prove it, it's not real. Now, being that my background is in basketball, I didn't even introduce myself. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 25 books, creator of over 7,000 YouTube videos, 7,000 articles, 1,000 live streams, 1,400 podcast episodes. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm a coach, consultant, speaker, Uber content producer. What's the other thing that I do? A whole bunch of other things, and I don't even feel like listing them all right now. I created this whole framework called Work on Your Game. Take the pro athlete mindset, dominate your game in business, sports, and life to be in the top 1% of what you do. All of that is the framework that leads to topics like what I'm talking about here, and I talk about every day when I do these lives. But being that my background's in sports, of course, a lot of athletes would come to me and ask me questions and ask for help. And a lot of athletes saw me putting out training videos back in the day, and they would say, well, Dre, look, I practice all the time the same way you practice all the time. And I know I'm really good because when I practice, I do all these things. Or when I play 3-on-3 with my friends, I'm doing all this stuff that shows that I'm good. Or when I practice with the team every day, I'm doing these things. And I look like a certain level of player. But then when I get into a live game against some players that I don't know, or a live game in the arena with all the fans watching and the referees and the lights are on, or I go to tryouts when the coach is watching and I know the pressure is on and this is the moment that really matters, I'm not really performing at the level that I want to perform. So then they say, well, Dre, what am I supposed to do? Because I know that I'm really good, but for whatever reason, when it's time to prove it, I haven't really been able to show my game in those big moments when it matters the most. Well, here's the thing that you need to understand. If you can't prove it, then it doesn't exist. So you might believe. See, there's a difference between what you believe about yourself and what you're able to prove about yourself. Those are two different things. See, I could believe that I'm the best speaker in the world and I can give a great presentation, and when I lay my points down, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, these are amazing points. And I know when I speak and I'm practicing by myself, talking to myself in the mirror, the presentation is perfect and I say every word right and everything sounds right and everything is hitting. I'm like, yo, I'm the best speaker in the world. I'm the best speaker this side of Tony Robbins. But then if I get in front of an audience and I freeze up and I'm stammering on all my words and I forget what I was going to say and I'm losing the audience's attention, and people only give me a round of applause because they're trying to be polite, not because I was actually good. Am I actually good? I mean, I saw what I was doing when I was in the mirror and I believed it when I was looking in the mirror, but then when I get in front of a live audience, I'm not doing it. Am I actually good? The answer is no. As the saying goes, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, it doesn't make a sound. It does not make a sound. It doesn't make a sound because nobody was there to register the sound. If you think you're really good because of what you did in practice by yourself, but there was no audience there to see it, there was no coach there to judge you on it, there was no scout there to evaluate you on it, there was no next opportunity for you to play your way into that saw you do that thing, doesn't matter that you did it. It matters internally. It can help build your confidence and you worked on your game, but does it really matter in the grand scheme of you advancing in your career? The answer is no, it does not matter. It only matters if you're able to prove it. And this is anything in life. I mean, everybody know O.J. Simpson, right? Anybody here who thinks OJ is not guilty? Everybody think OJ was guilty, right? He got away with it. But the thing is, when he went to court, they couldn't prove it. So it's not about whether he did it or not. It's about could they prove it. They couldn't prove that he did it, so OJ got off. Now, then he went and committed another crime, like a dummy, and he went to jail for that. But the crime that he would have been locked up for the rest of his life for, maybe got executed for, they weren't able to prove it. Even though a whole lot of people, as terms of public opinion, think he was guilty, they couldn't prove it, therefore he was able to walk. So in your life, in anything that you do, it's not about what you believe. It's not about what you think. It's not about what you think you saw. It's not about what you say. It's not about what you post on your Instagram. It's about what you can prove. Because when you can prove it, now you got something tangible. Now people got to believe the things that you actually proved. If you don't prove it, then how is anybody supposed to know it? There's no way that they could possibly know it. So the topic here today is you must prove your game, because if you don't prove your game, then you have no game. Everybody got that? If you can't prove that you got game, doesn't matter what you think or what you believe or what you dreamed about or what you did on the court by yourself, you can't prove it, it doesn't exist. Point number one, understand that when you practice, when you work on your game, when you go take a course or you go to you sign up for a seminar or you register for somebody's webinar or you go to the basketball court and you practice all the time, or you're on the football team and y'all work out every day in the off season, all of those things are useful. I mean, you should work on your game if you want to be good. If you want to be good at what you do, you got to practice, you got to put the time in, you got to do the studying, you got to get the information. Generally speaking, you might not know exactly what to do, but you got a general idea that you got to put in some type of practice and preparation to be good. Like, everybody understands that, even if you might not know exactly what to do. Everybody understands that on one level. But understand that practice is merely a means to an end. Practice itself is not the end game. And a lot of people, I actually had to apologize to the public at one point because I had put out all these videos when I was playing ball, and a lot of the majority of the videos I was in the gym practicing by myself. So a lot of players, I think, got the wrong idea that they thought that was the end game, that me practicing by myself was all you need to do. Oh, just look at this guy. He's practicing by himself. He looks like he's pretty good. So what? If I just practice by myself, then I guess I'll be good too. But they didn't understand that the reason I was doing all that practice was so I'd be ready for the one chance that I might get to play in a game, the one chance I might get for a tryout or a workout or an exposure camp or sign a contract, and I got to prove myself in 3 days of practice in order to stay on the team. I was doing all that practice just for one opportunity. I told y'all when I was playing, I had a 10-to-1 ratio, at minimum 10-to-1 ratio, 10 practices for every one game that I played in, any kind of game, pickup game, one-on-one, course, rec league, overseas, exposure camp, whatever. 10 practices for every one game. It was usually a whole lot more than that. But I want y'all to understand that the purpose of practicing is not to brag about your practice. It's not to take a little clip from your practice and post it on Instagram and get famous. If that's what you want, if you want to be an influencer, that's fine. But if you're trying to be an actual ball player, you got to do more than just practice, okay? If you want to be an actual live speaker, you got to do more than just take a little clip and post it on your IG. You got to actually get out there and do it in the game, all right? Now, in the sales world, giving a sales presentation is the game. In the speaking world, giving a keynote speech at a conference, that's the game. In the football world, the game every Saturday or every Sunday or Friday, whatever level you play at, that's the game. In basketball, the actual game is the game. It's not the practice that makes you good. Now, the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Well, practice makes perfect in theory. All right, you're not perfect unless you're perfect in the game. Okay, and nobody's actually perfect. But y'all understand the gist of the semantics of the saying is the more you practice, the better that you'll get. That's basically what the saying is doing. But the saying, practice makes perfect, shouldn't be taken literally, meaning that if you practice all the time, that you're great. And what you do in practice makes you good. No, that's not true. What you do in practice prepares you for the one opportunity that you're going to get every week or every 3 days or every other day or once a year to play in a game and actually prove that you're good. Prove what you've been doing in practice. Whatever you've been doing in practice, you're going to get one chance in the game to show what you've been doing. And if you don't show it, guess what? You got to go back to the drawing board, back to the lab, and you got to practice all over again and maybe get your opportunity again. You got to work on your game all over again, and maybe you get another chance. Maybe you get another shot. Maybe there'll be another game, and maybe you'll get in that game and you get another chance to do what you can do. But practice is just a means to an end, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the end itself. A lot of people look at practice like that's the main thing. Oh, I practice all the time, Dre. Doesn't that mean I'm good? No. I practice all the time, Dre. I know I'm good. No, that's not enough to know that you're good. You only know you're good when you do it in the game. So the question might be, somebody might ask, well, Dre, what if you don't practice at all, or you kind of go halfway in practice, but then you get in the game and you do really good? Are you good? Yes. So this is where somebody will insert the Allen Iverson quote. Are we talking about practice? Yes. If you don't practice that hard, or maybe you don't practice at all, but then you show up to the performance and you do great, well, you're great because of what you did in the game. What happens in practice, the only people who know about that are the people who are in there behind closed doors, and that's not too many people. Might only be you. Might only be you and the team. Nobody's going to say, listen, if you go out in a game in basketball and you score 35 points a game for the season, nobody's going to come after the season and say, well, yeah, you scored 35 points a game, but you didn't really play hard in practice like that. And that's why Allen Iverson was so incredulous when he had that press conference. He's like, yo, I did all this great stuff in the game. This is the part that y'all judge me on. Why are y'all talking about practice? Why are we even talking about practice? And he had a point. There was another point that the coach was making that I'm not going to go into explaining right now. They had a point too, but Allen Iverson had a very solid point. Listen, in the games, the thing that I get judged on, the thing that I get paid for, I was dominating. I was doing my thing in the game. So don't talk to me about practicing when I'm playing better in the game than damn near everybody out here. I won the MVP. Why are we talking about practice? I think that was the next year he ended up winning the MVP. But y'all get the point of what I'm saying here. Your performance is what you will be judged on. Practice is just a means to an end. The only reason you practice is to get yourself ready for your opportunity to perform. Okay, you're not practicing to get yourself just to say that you practice. There's no trophy for practice. There's no trophy for dominating practice. Now, does dominating practice help in the long run? Yes, if you have the right mindset and you apply it the right way, of course it can help you. But just because you did your thing in practice does not mean you get a free pass for doing nothing in the game. And doing your thing in practice, again, is just preparation. Now you got to take that same energy, and you got to have the same energy when you get into the game. You still got to prove it when it matters. Point number 2. The topic, for those who came in the middle of this, we're talking about how to prove your game. If you can't prove your game, you have no game. Point number 2, I understand it can be frustrating. For anybody who does a lot of work, you do a lot of preparation, you do a lot of studying, you feel like you got all the information, you're doing all the right things, quote unquote, and then you might do 10 hours of studying for every 20 minutes of opportunity that you get. You only get 20 minutes to prove yourself and impress somebody in a performance, but you had to practice for like 20 weeks just to get that one 20-minute opportunity. That's not balanced at all, right? You got all this practice just for this little tiny bit of opportunity. That can be very frustrating, especially if you don't deliver during that little tiny bit of opportunity that you get. So what are you supposed to do about this? Well, I'm going to tell you what to do about it. You need to get better at performing. You need to be ready when you get that little 20 minutes of opportunity. After 20 hours of practicing, you better be ready. When you get your chance in life, you just got to be ready to go. And this is just the way that it is, people. It is a sink or swim world, or dog eat dog, or whatever quote you want to use for it. When you get your chance, you got to be ready to deliver. If you're not ready to deliver in the little bit of chance that you get, that's the game. That's just all it is. That's all there is to it. If you're not ready, then you don't get on. That's it. A basketball player will say to me, I've had hundreds of players say this to me, Dre, I practiced for like 3 months, 6 months, a whole year straight, just so I could go and play at basketball tryouts in high school or try to walk onto the team in college. And y'all know basketball tryouts is like one day, right? The coach usually makes some decisions after the first day, just to see who's there, who's who. Might not decide the whole team, but he gets rid of a whole bunch of people after one day. So a player will say, I practiced for 6 months getting ready for basketball tryouts. Then I go to tryouts, and I got cut on the first day. I worked out for 6 months straight, Dre, and I got cut on the first day of tryouts. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel like I should give up on basketball. I don't know what I did wrong. I felt like I did this and that. I feel like I should get another opportunity. Whatever reason, whatever they want to say after that. The point is, that's just what it is. All right, I can't change that for you. All right, actually, I don't want to change it. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's what makes it tough. That's what makes it rough out here. And that's why everybody ain't going to make it. Like I talked about yesterday, everybody's not going to make it because it's not going to be easy. If it was easy for everybody to make it, then everybody would make it. And guess what? Making it wouldn't matter because everybody could do it. Anything that everybody can do doesn't have a ton of value. The things that have the most value are the things that are hard to achieve, hard to get, things that a lot of people go after but very few people achieve. Those are the things that are worth the most simply because they're the hardest to achieve. We place the most value on the things that are hard to achieve. So the fact that you got to work hard for 20 days just to get 20 minutes of opportunity, yeah, that's what makes it worth it. That's what makes the people who deliver in that 20 minutes, that's what makes it so valuable when they actually do. That is the way that it goes. People will know you based on what you do in that little bit of opportunity that you get. If you mess up, they're going to know you for messing up. If you do great, they're going to know you for doing great. What you did in practice does not matter. If you dominated in practice, then you get in the game and do nothing. What are people going to know you for? Doing nothing. If you do nothing in practice, then you get in the game and dominate. What are people going to know you for? Dominating. Like Allen Iverson. The way he was talking, he didn't really care about practice. And maybe that's the way he practiced. Who knows? I wasn't there. But we do know that when he got in that game, Allen Iverson did his thing. That's why we know Allen Iverson's name. And there are other guys who might have did great in practice, but then they get in the game and they don't really do nothing. We don't know because what? We don't know about what they did in practice. Nobody gets a book written about them because of what they did in practice. All right, you only get books written about you and documentaries about you based on what you do in the live performance. So you got to tune yourself up for doing your thing in a live performance. And I just happened to have written about that in this book right here. I talk about performance anxiety and delivering when your time comes in this book right here called Work on Your Game. I'll tell you how to get this later on. And I got a book for you athletes called How to Play as Well as You Practice. So if you feel like you practice well, but you're not playing as well, I got a book there called How to Play as Well as You Practice. You can get it for free at hoophandbook.com. Point number 3. For those who are coming in the middle of this, the topic is proving your game. If you can't prove your game, then you have no game. Point number 3. Understand that what we're in this world, in this performance industry, is show business. And why do they call it show business? Because whoever has the best show gets the business. Notice it's not called practice business. It's not called preparation business. It's not called get ready business. It's not called planning ahead business. It's called show business. It's only what you do during the show that you're going to be judged on. Now, understand me. Please do not misconstrue the message. I am not saying that planning ahead and being ready and preparing and practicing are not smart things to do. You should do those things. I do all those things. But at the same time, I understand that nobody is judging me based on what I did in practice because nobody's watching when I'm practicing. When I'm practicing, it's just me. Nobody's watching. There's no fanfare. There's no live stream. There's no video camera. Maybe there's a video camera, but you might not see that material. Nobody cares about what you do in practice. Only thing people care about is what you do in the game. If I go give a keynote speech in a room with 5,000 people in it, nobody cares that I had the speech perfect last week when I was at home practicing by myself on the balcony. Only thing they care about is what kind of delivery did you have during this little 1 hour that you get with all the lights on and everybody's listening. If you messed up on that, that's what they're going to judge you on. They're not going to judge you on your practice or your prep or getting ready or hyping yourself up ahead of time. None of that. Show business. What's the show in your industry? In the business that you're in, what is the show? If you're trying to get a job right now, if you're unemployed trying to get a job, the show is the job interview. That's the show. Because if you put on a good show in the job interview, you get the business, right? You get hired and you get a job. If you're a football player, the show is every Friday if you're in high school, every Saturday if you play in college, and every Sunday if you play in the pros. That's when the game is. That's the thing you get judged on. And when it's time for you to negotiate a contract, nobody's going to say, well, damn, you played so well in practice, even though you did nothing in the game, we're going to give you a big contract. That doesn't happen. But they might say, you played so well in the games, we ain't even asking about what you did in practice. We don't care because we know what you did in those games. Those will put butts in the seats. Those make us money. Those helped us win that Super Bowl. All right, we're going to give you a contract. How much you want? It is what you do during the show that proves whether you have business or determines whether you get any business, and it determines even if you get to stay in business. If you're a salesperson, what's the show? If you're a salesperson, your show is every time you sit down with a prospect and you present your product or your service and you try to transfer that emotion and get them to purchase your product or service. That's the show. Every sales presentation is a show. And hopefully you're more successful than you are unsuccessful. Hopefully you close more of those shows than you don't close, because the more of them you close, the more business you create for yourself, your company, your staff, your family, whatever you got going on. That is the show. So you need to ask yourself this question: what is the show in my business? Since we know we're talking about show business, what's the show in your business? If you do live stream videos, every time you do a live stream, that's a show. If you do webinars, every webinar is a show. If you got a podcast, if you got a YouTube channel, if you are a coach or consultant, if you're a therapist, every time somebody comes in your office and sits down on that couch, that's the show. And if you don't do well in that show, you're not going to have too many clients. If you're a surgeon, every time somebody lays down on your table and y'all put them under anesthesia and you start operating, that's the show. And if you don't do too well in that, you get some medical malpractice suits, or you might be out of business. You understand how that works? So there's a show for every business. What is the show in your business? And what you need to start thinking about is, how do I fine tune and tailor my preparation so that I'm 100% ready for the show? And if you have ever messed up in the show before, you need to assess how you messed up, why you messed up, what you were missing, what you didn't know, what you didn't prepare for, what you came up short on, to make sure you don't mess up like that again. All right, you don't want to mess up more than once on the exact same thing. All right, because you ain't got enough time to keep messing up on everything. Everybody following what I'm saying here? The media allows us now, since we have Instagrams and YouTubes and everybody has a phone with a camera on it, we can show people the behind the scenes. We can show people the preparation and the practicing and the getting ready and all of that. But it doesn't really matter. That's just for entertainment purposes. That's all it is, entertainment. Okay, what you really get paid for out here, and when I say paid, I mean any form of return that you want, is what you do in the show. All right, the behind the scenes stuff is just for your fans and your audience, people like that. They need something to pay attention to. But what really matters, what we really remember, is the show. Nobody knows, nobody pays for tickets to Beyonce's, what do they call it? Rehearsal. We don't pay for tickets to the rehearsal for the Taylor Swift show. We pay for tickets for the show. All right, so she could be great in rehearsal, but if she's terrible in the show, people are going to be like, yo, I paid $80 for these tickets to the Taylor Swift show and she was trash, even though she was perfect in rehearsal. Nobody cares about the rehearsal. All we care about is when those lights come on and that show is out. The prep does not matter if you don't perform in the show. All right, everybody got that. Now, I'm going to recap these points. I'm going to tell you about these books I got here in front of me. Then I'm going to answer any questions anybody got in the comment section. If it's related to the topic, make sure it's good and keep it short. So let's recap the topic, which is you got to prove your game. If you can't prove your game, then unfortunately, I hate to break the news to you. Actually, I don't hate to break the news to you, but I have to break the news to you. If you can't prove it, you don't have any game. If you can't prove that you have game, you don't have game. You can't just talk about having game. You can't just write it down. Don't bring me anybody that says they saw you have game. Listen, I need to see it. Your audience needs to see it. Your customers, your clients, they need to see it. Your coaches, the scouts, the people who are evaluating you, they got to see you have game. You can't just talk about it. You got to prove it. Point number one, practice is a means to an end, ladies and gentlemen. Practice is not the thing that you don't get paid for practicing. You get paid for performing. If you do not perform, you don't get paid. The performers are the ones who get paid, so the victors go to spoils. If you don't perform, there's no check at the end of the day. Like Allen Iverson said, it's not about practice, it's about what you do in the game. When you perform in the game, that's the thing people remember. Point number two, it can be frustrating for some people. If you work really hard in practice 100 days in a row, and it's only one game, you did 100 days of practice just for one game, and you don't do your thing in that one game, then nobody cares what you did in practice. Now, here's the other thing I didn't say. If you do great, let's say you spend a whole lot of time practicing, and then you do great in the game, now people will ask you, well, how'd you get ready? What was your preparation? How'd you practice? Now people want to know about it. See, the fact that I played pro basketball, and I could tell you all the story of how I came from nothing to something in playing basketball. Then when people found out about that, they said, okay, that's interesting. And then I say, well, here's how I practice. Now people want to know. Now people are like, oh, how'd you practice? How'd you work on your game to go from sitting on the bench in high school to playing pro 5 years later? Well, I say, well, let me show you all these videos that I made. The only reason people cared about my preparation is because they saw what it produced. They saw the end outcome of all that preparation. If you can't show people the end outcome of your preparation, then nobody will care about the preparation. Preparation only matters when you have produced a result at the end. So it kind of works backwards in that way. Point number three, And oh yeah, one more thing in performance. When you perform, people will know you as a performer. When you mess up, people will know you for messing up. Does not matter what you did in practice. Point number 3. This is show business. Whoever has the best show gets the business. Whoever keeps putting on the best show stays in business. And whoever does not put on a show, you go out of business. All right, the game is completely over. So you need to figure out, what is the show in my business? If you're an athlete, the show is the game or the tryout. If you're a salesperson, the show is the sales presentation. If you're a coach or a consultant or a therapist, then the show is every time somebody comes and sits in your office to talk to you. If you're a surgeon, the show is every time you go and do a surgery. The show is whatever performance you get paid for. You need to know what that is. What are they actually paying you for? Are they paying you to practice, or are they paying you to play in the game? Now, yes, you got to do both. But what's the thing that they actually look at when it's time to negotiate your contract? They're looking at that performance in the game. They're looking at your stats. Not your practice highlights, but your stats. So when you perform in the game, that's when you get paid. Now I'm going to take questions right after I tell you about these books. First of all, these 2 books right here. First thing you need to know is that these books are already paid for. I paid for the book. You ain't got to pay for these books in order to get them. I'm going to give you the book for free. All you got to do is take care of the shipping. Let me tell you what these books are, what they're going to do for you, why you want them, and how to get them. First of all, this book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. The subtitle is The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. I wrote this book for anybody who wants to. You know that there's someone deep inside of you that you're not being right now. You're not really deep in touch with your true self, that instinctive self. You've lost touch with it for whatever reason. I know why. I wrote about it in this book, and I'm going to tell you how to get back in touch with that person so you can be who you need to be, which means you'll start doing what you really need to do, and you'll start getting the results that you really deserve to get in your life, which means you're going to separate yourself from 99% of people out here who are drifting by wherever the wind blows, no real sense of purpose, no real sense of direction. You want to stop being like that and be something else? Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. I will send you this book free. All you do is take care of the shipping. We ship this book worldwide. Anywhere in the world that you live, we will ship you this book. We shipped out 30 books this week of The Mirror of Motivation. You want to be the next one? Get yours before you run out of trees out here in this world, because you see they building all these buildings, they tearing down the trees, and they need trees to make books. So go to mirrorofmotivation.com before you run out of paper. This one, it's the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. This book is written by me. I came out of a Division III college where I walked on, had no scholarship, no offers, no coaches, no scouts. Well, not no coaches, but no coaches recruiting me, no scouts. I had no connection. I didn't know anybody who had ever played overseas, but I went and hustled my way into a 9-year pro basketball career. How did I do it? How can you do it? Even if you come from no school, you come from a small school, you ain't got no game video, you have no prospects, you have no connections, you don't have any idea what to do, go to balloverseas.com, and I'm giving you see the title, The Blueprint. This is the blueprint for you to play professional basketball. So if you want to play pro basketball, I wrote a whole blueprint. This is a 237-page book that gives you everything that you need to know to play professional basketball, even if you are starting from zero right now, as long as you got game. Okay, now don't come in here having no game talking about I want to play overseas. If you believe you have enough game to play pro ball, or you at least want to find out, go to Overseas Basketball, get the Overseas Basketball Blueprint by going to balloverseas.com. That's the link, balloverseas.com. This book is paid for. You take care of the shipping. I got you worldwide, anywhere you at. So now we're going to see what we got. If we got any questions in the comment section. Anyone who has a question on anything we talked about here today, go ahead and post it in the comments right now. I'm going to address any comments that we got or any questions that we got that are related to the subject. So I hope somebody was taking notes and you got some value out of what we've been talking about here on this topic. The Life of Trice says practice for performance. That's right. Someone said Jordan focused on only his game. Yeah, like I talked about. He didn't ask for endorsement. Endorsement came in. He focused on his game. Now he's a billionaire. Well, he focused on his business after basketball. He's had 20 years. But I get what you're saying. I talked about that in Jordan, I think 2 weeks ago when I did that live. Let's see. D. Martins, I appreciate you. Thank you for the comment. Let me know that you went here paying attention. Proving your game, that's the topic here today. D. Martin says, how do you track this? Transfer practice, skill, and performance to game situations. If you're referring to basketball, go to hoophandbook.com/free, F-R-E-E. Free 99. Get my book, How to Play as Well as You Practice. I mean, you can't come up with a better title than that. How to Play as Well as You Practice. It's made specifically for basketball players. Get that at, hoophandbook.com/free, F-R-E-E. How to Play as Well as You Practice. I mean, that book, the title says it all. It tells you everything you need to know about the book. Civic Khan says, do you know any player who came back from a knee surgery and made the tryouts and went overseas? Came back from a knee surgery, made tryouts, went overseas. Yeah, I know. I had a college teammate who had knee surgery before I met him. So I met him in college. He had knee surgery before I met him, and he played overseas after college. So yes, I do. But I mean, what does that have to do with you? Is the better question. If you think you could play overseas, look, let me tell y'all again the pitch for this book. If you think you are good enough to play ball overseas, go to balloverseas.com. Listen, the book is paid for. All you got to do is take care of the shipping. You have literally nothing to lose. And what do you have to gain? A career in professional basketball where you could do what 99% of basketball players don't do, which is actually get paid to play basketball. Listen, you have nothing to lose here. I would get this book. If I was trying to play overseas, I would go claim my copy of this book. I would buy the book full price if I had to, but I'm giving it to you for free. So I'm taking away any possible second thoughts. Balloverseas.com. American Lefty, what's going on? Eyeball said you make time fly. Well, that's the point. That's the aim. That you should be so entrenched in what I'm saying that you ain't even thinking about the time. But I'm going to give you value every time. The Life of Trice says the Work on Your Game book is on point. I agree. You are right. Complete B-Ball, I appreciate you. Eyeball says, does Health Rush have tacos? I don't know. I don't ask them to make me tacos. I don't tell them what to make. I'll let them make whatever they're going to make and just send it to me. But if you get the service, then you can ask them about that and you can talk to them yourself. So I'm going to tell y'all one more time about these books. Mirrorofmotivation.com. Be the person you truly need to be so you can do what you want to do and have what you want to have in life. Balloverseas.com for anybody who wants to play professional basketball overseas, get paid to play ball, travel the world. Your food's paid for, your travel's paid for, your housing is paid for. All you got to do is play basketball every day. I mean, if there's a job in the world better than that, somebody tell me what it is. If you have both of those books or you need something else to read while you're still on the lockdown/quarantine situation, get this one, Work on Your Game. This is my whole framework of my whole philosophy broken down into a 4-part framework right here in this book. I took everything that I talk about, everything I know about, everything I've experienced through my life and my business life, my sports life, and all the philosophies that I got from it, the best material, and I condensed it down into 250 pages in this book right here. It is called Work on Your Game. This is my whole philosophy in this book. You want to know basically what I'm about and what's the stuff I'm talking about and what you can get from it, read this book and you will know if you want to hear more from me. If you read this and you like it, then you want to get more from me. If you read this and you don't like it, then I'm just not for you. But I think you're going to like it. So go to workonyourgamebook.com. You can get this book. And when you get this book from us at workonyourgamebook.com, I'm going to give you about $1,000 in bonuses that you cannot get anywhere else. You can't get those bonuses on Amazon. You can't get them on iBooks. You can't get them on Audible. You can't get them on name any other site. The only place you can get it is at workonyourgamebook.com. This is that book, Work on Your Game. Now, I've written 25 books, but you notice I'm only telling you about 3. I ain't going to try to overwhelm you with too much information. We're just going to keep it at that. These books are free. Mirrormotivation.com, balloverseas.com. This one is not free, but I'm going to give you $1,000 in bonuses with your $25 purchase Work on Your Game book. And I'm going to tell you what else is free. I'm going live every single day, 5:15 p.m. Eastern every day. I'm going live. So if you want to catch my next live, set your notifications, put a calendar invite, turn the alarm on, whatever. 5:15 p.m. Eastern every single day on Facebook /Work on Your Game, Instagram at Dre Baldwin. Going live every day. Everybody stay safe. Pray that I think soon they're going to raise this whole lockdown thing. I think it's going to be over very soon. I think people getting tired of being in the house. It's coming soon. So stay ready. Work on your game. Dre all day. We out.